Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming to our annual Hanukkah celebration. Tonight we're celebrating the second night of Hanukkah, and I made a speech.
Of course you did. Get ready, Damien. Just buckle up. Buckle up, buddy. It's a big one this year.
Thank you. I'll take her.
Everybody sit down.
So, okay, before we begin, I have a little contest for the kids. During this speech, I am going to tell one lie. Afterwards, keep it in your mind, but afterwards, if you spot it, you get an extra piece of chocolate. Okay? Anyway, okay. So anyways, this is our third time doing this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's time for a quick review. So as you know, Hanukkah celebrates the victory of the heroic Maccabees over the Syrian Greek army, like in the Bronze Age, and the miracle that happened afterwards. When the Jews went to light the menorah, they only had enough oil for one night, and yet it lit for 8 crazy nights. Now, I just wanted to discuss the concept of miracle once more. I know we kind of did that 2 years ago, but I have some new thoughts. We can all agree that in comparison to like the parting of the Red Sea and the burning bush, this miracle is kind of basic. And yet it always is referred to as a miracle. Now, do you guys remember like the letters on the dreidel? You guys remember that? There's like 4 letters. There's Nun, Gimel, Chet, and Shin, which stand for the words Nes Gadol Chaya Sham, which means a great miracle happened there. Don't worry, you'll all get a dreidel afterwards. And I really like the idea. It's sort of a cool idea. I really like the idea of gambling, spinning this top, and there's a chance you might land on miracle. It's a weird concept, but let me just explain it a little bit. It's really important to note that biblical miracles are not impossibilities. They are just things that are extremely unlikely to happen. Like, for example, God never produces in the Bible, like a circle square. Like something that is
Impossible.
or like light and darkness at the same time. Because like our brains just can't figure that out. Instead, he produces things like the parting of the Red Sea or the burning bush, things that are sometimes crazy, sometimes beautiful, but they're always something that exists in reality and are just amazingly unlikely to happen. The miracle of the candle burning far longer than it should falls in the realm of the beautiful. And I love it because on first reading it sends the message that we all need to hear sometimes. With it, God told the Maccabees, "You are not alone." Everyone following me? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. So, it's a little bit more complicated this year, but I sort of figured it's like you're all getting older, so you guys can sort of manage this. I'm sort of like stepping up the speech. It's sort of like a Harry Potter book. So it's like they get slightly more complicated every Okay, but so I just want to switch things up a little bit, but I promise at the end of this, I'll totally tie the room together. Last year I spoke a bit about the things that I do when I'm feeling down. This year was a bit of a challenging year in many respects, so this came in handy, and if it's okay, I want to share with you one of the things that I do. I think about reincarnation. I start to think to myself, suppose after you die, you get randomly dropped into another living thing on planet Earth. What are the chances I get lucky enough to be a human being? It's like that's in like the trillions. And then, on top of that, what's the likelihood that I arrive on planet Earth during an incredibly peaceful and prosperous time? Again, in the trillions. And what about the chances of landing in a weirdly peaceful country like Canada? At least in the billions, and so on and so forth. And when I get to the end of my thinking, I tack on the likelihood of being here with all you today, and being the dad of James and Sadie, the husband of Jessica, the next door neighbor of the Schlones, the down the street neighbors of the Rulos, the Thornhills, the Farinas, the Janiks, the Burns, the Langs, the Ballas, the Billsmans, the Wrights, and every other bright light that makes up this wonderful community of ours. I think the chances of us being here tonight far exceeds the likelihood of anything like the parting of the Red Sea and the burning bush.
Oh, Dan, you're gonna make me cry.
I I never think about winning the lottery because I already have. So I want to thank you all for being such wonderful neighbors and for constantly reminding Jess and I that we are not alone. And I hope that when we spin our dreidels tonight, let's remind ourselves that regardless of which letter it lands on, just by being here today, we land on miracle every time. The end.
Yeah, damn right.
Any votes? Yes, anyone? No, they won that. No, that's all right. Yeah. I know, but it's four words in Hebrew.